Welcome to the first episode of Behind the Paws, where we get an inside look at your Panther athletes and coaches. This week's episode will be covering basketball's recap. My special guests today are Coach Mack, Austin Brown, and BJ Thomas. Hey, Coach, how are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you for having us.
Of course. So as the season's just ended, can you kind of recap that for us?
Well, there was a lot of highs and a couple lows there, at the end, and so it was a really good season. We won 31 games in a row, which is not something that I ever really envisioned being a part of. But these kids came to work every day and did a great job of trying to do, the things that we ask them to do. And, one of the things we talked about all year is just how fast things get going in basketball in the playoffs. And the harsh reality of a little bit of a tough luck situation. The last game made it pretty bitter and is still pretty fresh, I know, at least in my mind, and so still kind of hard. But, I think at the end of the day, when we look back on things, we'll realize just how fun it was, the relationships that we were able to build throughout the team. And, this, especially with these two guys and a lot of the guys, this has kind of been more than just about this season. If you talk about this season, it really started, almost a year ago to the date. We went to work the first day, we got back after spring break, and it was a really long journey. And a lot of these guys were a part of the ride last year, and we had some, difficult games that I think helped prepare them to want to get better in the off season, and they did that. So, it's been a long journey, a fun journey. The process is way more fun to me. The development, watching the kids develop, watching them grow. The games, these kids have heard me say this. The games are about them. The practices and the development are about, the coaches and the fun that we have there. And so, just the overall recap. I mean, obviously the win streaks, the continuing, I think it's 38 games in a row in district streak to keep that alive. They kind of push it forward on to next year's group to kind of keep that tradition alive. I think it was, from a varsity standpoint, all the way back to BJ's freshman year when we lost a district game. Austin was an eighth grader at that time. So you say that stuff out loud, and it speaks to the accomplishment of what these young men have been able to accomplish.
Yes. And talking about this team, what are you most proud of with this team? All the seniors that you have, hitting your 500 win milestone, and that amazing record of 34-3.
Yeah, I mean, all that is great. These kids will tell you it's never been about any of that sort of stuff. Just the growth and the development as players, as young men. I tell people all the time, they're really good kids who happen to be good basketball players. And so they're a lot of fun to be around. And just the day-to-day grind, BJ and Dalen and Marcellus have been with us every day of workout up until the last week or so that we've had in the pack. So that's different moving forward, and that's a harsh reality of things that happen when you're a senior and you play your last game. And everybody's in such a hurry to grow up. Everybody's in such a hurry to move on that, we really try to emphasize enjoying this. And I think this group did that. I think the fact that we liked being around each other, that practices were easy, that when we had the misfortune of the Highland Park game, it made it that much tougher to kind of deal with and move on. And one of the things that I like to say, and the kids have heard me say, the world doesn't stop spinning because we got problems, or we got to find a way just to keep moving forward and keep getting better. And I think the fact that these young men were a part of this program will help them be a key part of their development as young men to be great, productive citizens in society. And that's ultimately what's most important. Winning's fun and losing sucks, but, trying to be good people is what it's really all about.
Of course. Talking more about competition that you did face this past season, however, how do you feel about the competition we faced? Because we faced a lot of really tough competition at the beginning of the season with tournaments. You almost kind of blew through your district, and then you faced tough competition again in playoffs. How do you think you prepared for that? How do you think we faced that, and how do you think that affected our play?
Geographically, we're in a little bit different area. There's not many people that travel 90 miles for junior high games, and that's kind of normal in Lufkin. And so, about 3 or 4 years ago, we really made the decision to try to increase, our competition. And a lot of that happens outside of the season. Before the season started, I took the preseason rankings in 5A and 6A, and I think there was 25 5A teams ranked and 25 6A teams, which would make 50. They don't let me teach math. You can see that. But I counted, and we had played 20 of those teams over the last 2 years, even in whether it was in a spring situation, an event that we went to in the summertime, a TABC event, or in tournaments in the deal. So we played 40% of the top, 5A and 6A teams, and I think that's really remarkable considering on where we are geographically.
Yes.
It's tough to have to go travel to all those places. That's one of the things that have made, the Hoop Fest event such a big deal is 3 of those 4 teams that we played have come to us, and without something like that, that wouldn't be the case. People aren't just driving to Lufkin to play us. We've got to have an event like that to try to bring that level of competition to our backyard. And then also the tournaments that we host, bringing some of those guys in during that time has helped. And, so it's tough. You talk about playing. I think I did the math, and I think we traveled 1,476 miles round trip for district games. And that's something that a lot of the people in the Metroplex don't have to deal with. So, the cumulative effect of that travel throughout the season, trying to balance that, trying to manage that. So there's a lot of things that go into the scheduling that sometimes people don't realize. It's great to get to play people and say you played people, but you've got to manage the travel that you put these kids under. It's not easy going all these long distances over and over, and if you do that, it can wear you out. And so trying to balance that and manage that, I felt like we did a better job of that in our scheduling this year. Last year, I didn't do our kids some favors. Yeah, we'll go play in the Dallas Maverick tournament, and then, we'll play Monday. We don't need practice. We'll play Duncanville. Well, that didn't turn out so well, and I probably didn't put our kids in the best chance to be successful in that situation. It's one thing to play Duncanville. It's another thing to play Duncanville with no practice, and so especially coming off of spending 2 nights in the Metroplex. And so we kind of tried to space that out more this year with some of our travel on the road, being at home, and then, it's not something I really talk about with these guys because I don't want to put it in their head. So some of them may be looking at me a little crazy right now, like, what is he talking about? But there is a lot more to the scheduling than just saying, hey, we want to play or this, and, so I've been pleased with the ability that we've been able to put our kids on a big stage and see how they perform. And sometimes it's gone well, and sometimes, we've learned and on things we've got to be better at.
Of course, that's always wonderful for them to have new opportunities to play new teams and balancing out that travel, like you said, so they can be refreshed and replenished. More into that and talking about playoffs, though, how do you feel about this new format of playoffs?
It's different, you catch a district champion or a number 1 seed in that division quite a bit earlier. I think there's some years where it will benefit you and some years where it will make your path pretty tough, and I think this year it made our path pretty tough, and we knew the first couple games were going to be very challenging and that, we would have to play at or near our best to be able to advance, and, we felt like we played good, but definitely not our best in the second game. And if you do that, you leave it up to a chance where you can get beat, and that's kind of what happened.
Of course. On to a brighter note, however, how has it been coaching these two the past few years?
Oh, a lot of fun. I mean, that's the growth. I mean, BJ and I talked the other day in our exit interview, and, there's some things that BJ evolved from his freshman year until now, both physically and maturity-wise. And so, and that's what you like to see.
Of course.
And there's no doubt that because of that growth, because of the dedication that he's had, is why he was a captain this year, and the leadership that he showed, and I knew how important it was to him. And then Austin, on the other hand, is just a guy who, for several years has really, really put in the work, and people see a lot with both of them this year. A lot of the on-court success that they have, and they don't realize the hard work that both of these young men put in when there's nobody in the gym, nobody watching. It's not easy to get up there, especially when your friends are out running around doing things that at the time might seem and be like more fun. But, just a great representation of Lufkin basketball, Lufkin high school athletics, Lufkin High School, the community of Lufkin. Guys like this are one of the things that make this place special.
Of course, much praise from Coach. Okay, boys, so how has it been being coached under Coach Mack the last few years?
It's been great. It's been definitely some ups and downs, not wanting to come to practice, and him emphasizing that he doesn't care if you don't want to come to practice or not. You're going to practice, and you're going to practice hard. His drive to win definitely influenced us and made us willing to sacrifice anything to win, and that's something that we took on, and we took on well, I feel like. It's been great, though. I've learned a lot, and it's been great.
Yes.
I would just say being coached with him has been great. The way that he shows up every day, the love that he has for the game, me and I see all my teammates, it pushes me to love the game just as much as he does and be the type of person and put my all into it ultimately to win and be a better person and a man. And for the team, it's shown. All these guys are some of the best people I've ever met in my life, and going to do great things.
It goes much more than the game for all of y'all.
For sure.
Speaking about basketball and the game, though, how do y'all feel about this past season?
I love the season way more this year. I feel like it was a enjoyable group of guys. Like, I enjoyed to be around them. I really miss them. I missed the guys last year too, but this year was just way more fun. It was way more connection, chemistry for sure. Just playing on the court, playing off the court practices, team bonding. Just everything about this team was great, and I love the season for sure.
Yeah, I would say it was great. Getting to be around these guys every single day at practice, they pushed me to be a better person because kind of growing up with these guys, it's kind of my friend group growing up, and even the younger guys, growing up with them too, and we all really bonded this year, and getting to play together every single Tuesday and Friday was some of the best moments of my life.
More on to, y'all play twice a week. How did y'all prepare for that? How did that wear on you as the season went on, too?
So at the beginning, it wasn't really an issue. You play games. We've been playing games back-to-back, tournaments back-to-back, all throughout the preseason.
Yes.
So it wasn't really that difficult at the beginning. But district games, you have to have a certain level of seriousness to it. So that wear and tear on your body, it affects you over time. So throughout the district play, it definitely, tired us down, slowed us down. But we were so deep that even though we were tired, the next guy just step up and we'd get a break, and then we're right back to it.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely. You only get 2 days to prepare for each team during district, and it's definitely not the best situation, but we always found a way. Coach Mack helped us prepare for that, and the guys we always took on the task, and we were always ready to play on game day, and some games we weren't, but we always found a way to figure something out.
As y'all rallied and the energy was growing, how did the student section kind of play into how well y'all did this year too, and that support that they showed y'all?
We definitely fed off their energy. They were hyped. They were hyped. The posters, the painting on the bodies, the talking. It was definitely fun, and we definitely fed off their energy, and it was great. Man.
Yeah, like BJ said, it was a cool atmosphere, and it really showed us and the community of Lufkin, everybody showing up, it meant a lot to us. And them getting pumped up and going crazy, it was cool to play in.
It was a lot of great energy from the crowd, from the community, from everybody. BJ, it was your senior season. I know you kind of went into how you're going to miss the guys and how you're going to miss the memories. Can you talk about a little bit more about that feeling?
You know, at the beginning of after we lost last year, the playoffs, I made a decision to want to be the best that I can be, the best possible person and best possible basketball player that I can be. And that meant for me to take on more of a leadership role. So as soon as we started, I started working hard, started self-discovery, everything to lead to better outcomes. That's what I did. So all that work that I've put in, it's bear fruit for sure. And I'm gonna miss it because all the work that I put in, it just ended. So that definitely hurt, and I'm gonna miss it. But I wouldn't have traded it for the world. All that work I put in, it definitely bear fruit, and it showed me what I'm capable of if I put my mind to it and who I truly am. Yeah.
The hard work pays off. Austin, this is your junior season. Can you talk about how you're preparing for next year, working with Coach Mack, working with your teammates? How are you moving forward into that mentality?
It's right now especially, it's definitely hard. Still trying to get over this past season, and it's definitely different not being with all those seniors. It's a different feeling, but ultimately we got to bounce back and be ready for next year, and just trying to work the hardest that I can, be a leader to some of the younger guys coming up, and get back and hopefully get past and make it as far as we can. And that's the goal as right now.
Of course. Okay, on to something a little more fun. We have a few rapid-fire questions for y'all. Coach, if you'd like to answer two, you're more than welcome to. Okay, so first, who has the strangest pregame routine? And just elaborate.
Okay, I'm going to answer first. And
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
So I think Tripp, so when he gets in a certain mode, he doesn't talk to anyone.
Okay.
We would joke, or we're playing music. People have their headphones on. He has no headphones. He's in his locker just looking.
Just straight.
Staring.
Okay.
I mean, he's locking in, but I feel like you got to open up a little bit, get a little loose. It's not, man, he's just straight. So I feel like Tripp definitely has the weirdest pregame ritual.
Okay.
I would say Kivo. Some days I come back into the gym and he'd just be running around the court doing defensive slides or falling down on the ground shooting threes, and I mean it worked. He hit a game winner where he was falling down basically and not hit a game winner, so it worked for him, but it was definitely different.
Of course. Coach, do you have anybody in mind?
Nah, I'll stay out of this probably.
Okay, who eats the most on the team?
Bryson, easily. He eats anything, and he will take your food if you don't want it. He eats anything.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing with BJ. I'm agreeing with that one.
Who is always the loudest on the bus?
So you got to say Bryson just because he's loud, period. But J-Rock will sometimes, it depends on his mood. He'll sometimes be loud. Even Sanders, it just depends. But just straight through, I got to say Bryson.
I just was going to say, as a group, they handled their business. There wasn't anybody really that was like super loud or out of control or anything like that. They got on the bus and they went to sleep, and then on the way home, there was some talking and carrying on, but that was all just in fun. I don't really remember anybody being super loud.
Really, yeah.
Speaking of sleep, who snores the loudest on the bus?
J-Rock.
I'm driving the bus, so I definitely don't hear that. So.
Yeah.
He's
J-Rock.
getting
He gets
his
on the
beauty
bus
rest.
and goes straight to sleep.
Yeah, every time.
You're going to hear him. So.
Okay. Okay, who would y'all say is the smartest on the team? On the court, off the court?
School-wise, definitely Tripp.
Yeah, mathematic-wise,
Yeah,
Tripp.
Tripp's
He's the person to go if you got a problem with numbers for sure.
Yeah.
On the court, I mean, we're a smart team. We're a pretty smart
Of
team.
course.
So all of us we smart in our own ways. So on the court, it was just about coming together to find a solution. Really, it wasn't.
Okay.
Everybody on the court provided something. I feel like.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that was probably a strength of what they're saying is that,
Yes.
smart, trust in each other because they did have confidence in their ability to each one know what they were doing. And so, yeah, they definitely had confidence in each other's ability to process what we were trying to do.
Of course, of course. Now, who has the best style on the team?
We have a lot of good guys that have
Yeah.
good styles.
Yeah.
BJ's good. Delo's good. Kivo's good.
Oh, I got one. I'll say CJ.
Okay.
CJ might win it, actually.
Yeah,
CJ got the best, actually. That's
he,
the best one.
Yeah, he takes time and he'll
CJ's
put on.
Puts his outfits on.
CJ wins it.
Okay.
He's got the best.
Yeah.
He has his schoolboy glasses on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CJ's got it.
Okay, Coach, you might have some input on this one. Who gets yelled at the most by Coach?
Okay, I'm gonna say, I think it's either between CJ or Bryson. Either one. They got yelled at pretty evenly, in my opinion, but
Okay.
either one, I would say.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
CJ, Bryson, Javarius.
yeah.
Okay.
Javarius, like, okay, so some days he'll come in, he seems like he knows what he's doing. You know, he does everything the right way. And then another day, I mean, it's just, you know.
Very on and off.
Yeah, so.
I love all three of those guys, but there was definitely days that some of them kind of seemed like, where are y'all today? I think y'all would agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all really good kids, but sometimes they probably needed some encouragement to refocus. We'll just say it like that.
Just a little bit. Finally, what was your favorite gym to play at that wasn't Lufkin?
So I hate to say this, but unfortunately it was Athens. That was every other gym we played in, I wouldn't say it was better than our gym. Our gym was really fun to play in. But Athens gym, just it seemed like an arena we were playing in. So
I think what she was saying is there a place you had more fun playing? Not necessarily the style of the gym, but
more fun.
yeah.
Yes.
I would say probably
Mount Pleasant.
that was a good one. I'll let Austin answer and then see what he has to say.
Okay.
I have two. I'd say Tyler Legacy and
Okay.
Hallsville. Just based off student section. I
Okay.
like playing with the student section because it gets me pumped up going against other
Okay,
students.
Hallsville, yeah. Tyler Legacy though,
They had a student section.
they really didn't have a student.
Hallsville
were
was
talking
the best,
to, they
yes.
were talking and we shut them
so
up.
Hallsville
y'all
is
fed off that
probably my
energy.
favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was fun.
That's where I
But-
thought y'all both would go with that was Hallsville.
Yeah,
I would say Hallsville had the
Matter of fact, at the baseball tournament last week, Hallsville coach was there, and I said, hey, make sure and tell your guys we appreciated them showing up for the basketball game because it kind of motivated our guys, and he just kind of laughed. It was good, and you know, I felt like that we knew that was going to be that was really kind of our first tough road district game, and I felt like we were really locked in and ready for that moment, played really well that night. And so, you know, I think obviously the results make you like a gym a little more or less.
Of course.
Like BJ said, Athens was nice, especially after the first night.
Yeah.
Second
Real
night,
nice.
maybe not so much.
Well, I think that's all the questions I have for today. Thank you guys, for all your insight on everything that we had about this season, basketball moving forward. Do you have anything y'all want to say before we leave?
Thank you, and thank you for all you guys did covering them this year. You know, I know y'all videoed, and I visited with you several times after the game, and it's fun to see the light shine on these kids, and as hard of work as they put in, they deserve it, and so it's always fun to have a focus on them and our program, and so we appreciate that with all you guys have done to help us there.
We've
Yeah.
loved covering basketball this year.
Thank you
It's
for having me.
amazing.
Thank y'all a lot.
Of course. Thank you.
And you said this was the first episode of this?
This is our very first episode.
We're
Shout out.
honored. Yeah. There you go. That's kind of cool. That really is. Appreciate y'all for thinking of us to do your first episode.
Of course. Thank you so much once again.